Okay, we're sitting here with great Mike Bub, and Mike, thanks for sitting down with us here. I really appreciate it. You've been playing bass for how long now?
I've been playing bass since I was about 15 years old, and that would be in the range of about 35 years.
Awesome. Yeah.
Actually, 37. I'm about to turn 52, so.
Oh, just a kid, just a young kid.
That's what they say, but you know what? I'm right on your tail, so.
Yes, sir. I guess so. So when you started playing, what type of music was it?
Well, everybody in my family played music of some kind, so my initial start in music was on a clarinet. And for some reason, as a third grader, I thought Benny Goodman was the greatest thing I'd ever heard and listened to. And I really got into that kind of music, basically because it was in my family's record collection, my parents' record collection. That was the music of their era, big band and that kind of stuff. But the clarinet, I realized right away, you play in a section with a bunch of other people, and so it takes all of that to be able to really contribute musically to a thing. So the first time I really saw anybody like get an instrument out of a case and just start playing it, I thought that was the greatest thing in the world, you know. And so eventually, through my parents' record collection, I stumbled onto some folk records like Kingston Trio, and they also had some bluegrass collection records from Star Day. And I got hooked on the 5-string banjo sound. And what's neat here is that I just was talking to Steve Mandel, who's walking around here, and you should interview him. He's the guy that played guitar on dueling banjos. And so that's kind of a touchstone for me, in that when that song was a huge radio hit in the early 70s. I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And that's the thing that really hooked me on the banjo. And of course, I grew up in Arizona, so I was in the bluegrass desert, basically. I had to go find the music, and so, but pre-internet and all those kind of things, I kind of sort of clawed my way to the banjo, and found a teacher and started taking lessons when I was about 13. So it was kind of a process, but that's how I kind of got hooked.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, I'm thinking how yesterday I saw you singing.
Yeah.
That's not normal. It's not common, at least.
Well, I like to say I can contribute to a show, but I can't carry a show.
That's great.
Yeah, I know a couple songs.
That was terrific. And you broke a string, right?
I broke a string. That's kind of a rarity, but that's as I told somebody, I said that's my bass telling me put some new strings on me.
Well, we all thought it was like a legendary moment. You know?
Oh, really? Well, good. I hope you never forget it. I'm trying to forget it as soon as possible.
That was terrific. Now, you teach a lot of people at workshops and everything?
I do a lot of clinics. I've done some of the academies, various ones around the country. I'm not. I don't have an instructional DVD or anything like that, or any solo records out. So I don't do as many of them as a lot of other people do. But I've done Rocky Grass Academy, which is a wonderful music camp in Colorado that leads up to the Rocky Grass Festival in Lyons, Colorado. And that's probably one of the top ones in the country. It sells out every year. Very difficult to get into. They do a lottery to get in, and some people take instruments that they don't even play so that they can go to the academy there. That kind of thing. I'm in beginning fiddle, but I got to get a fiddle.
Yeah. I'll borrow one from someone.
There's another one in British Columbia called Nimble Fingers, which is just a wonderfully organized event up there, and it's 2 weeks long. They have a bluegrass and an old time week, and in the middle they have a little festival on the same grounds as their workshops, and the people that run it are just incredibly fun.
Well, you've played with so many people, from Dell to Tim O'Brien to just the list. You could.
Yeah, I'm good on short notice.
That's good. Is there anyone that you played with that would surprise us that we don't?
May not surprise you guys as much as me in a way, but in the last 10 years, I left Dell's band in 2005, around May of 2005. So it's been 11 years this year. And when I left his band, I thought, well, I'll just move over to another bluegrass band and continue on. And I realized right away that I'm not going to play in a band ever like that again. That's the ultimate experience, for what I do, which is being basically a traditional bluegrass bass player. And so I decided, rather than try to chase something like that down or go find it, I would let the music come to me. And I got a job for a while, and I worked at Home Depot for a couple of years. And as things started to, sort of word got out that I was available to do other things, all of a sudden I started getting in these different musical environments that I would have never imagined myself in.
Right.
And one of them, I did a tour with Vince Gill, where we had a little 4-piece band. It was just piano, bass, percussion, and Vince played acoustic and electric guitars and sang all of his hit songs and told the stories behind the songs, like an intimate evening with Vince Gill. And I did about a 40-day tour with him, and that was it was really special and unique to hear him every night and just be able to play behind a singer of that quality every night, which as a bass player for me, that's what I really enjoy doing. I'm not really I love jazz and I love picking and I like that kind of stuff, but I'm not an instrumental music player. I like to play behind singers, and that's mainly what I do. And so playing with him was really fun. Then I formed a band called 18 South, which is kind of a roots band, sort of in the spirit of the band, like Levon Helm and those guys. So we have 3 great singers and songwriters. John Randall is one of them. He's a great songwriter in Nashville. He wrote Whiskey Lullaby, but he comes out of bluegrass. His wife, Jessie Alexander, is just a fantastic singer, and she wrote a bunch of hit songs in Nashville, like The Climb and I Drive Your Truck. And then, so we got that. We have these 3 great singers, write their own songs, and then we have a great rhythm section, and with Larry Ademanuik on drums, and a great lead guitar player by the name of Guthrie Trapp, who some people know from his days with Jerry Douglas. And he's a master of the Telecaster and just plays. And our music sort of bridges a lot of different styles of music. There's all these different influences.
So you guys are still around playing?
Yeah, it's sort of like a side project. If we take it too seriously, we would never do it anymore. But things just sort of come up, and we get gigs. We play some festivals here and there.
Right.
And then I also work with another guy a lot of people in bluegrass know now is a guy named Sean Camp. And I've played with him for the last 10 years when he does his solo shows and stuff. The last 2 years, of course, he's been doing the Earls of Leicester, and that's kind of taken up a lot of his touring time. But we play Station Inn in Nashville and do other things together, some festivals here and there.
And now you're playing with the great Jenny Lind.
And so this year, this year at IBMA, I am showcasing with Jenny Lind. We did a record over the last year, which is close to coming out. I think she's going to do a few more things to it, but she's in a great band called Della Mae, and they kind of are all doing solo projects right now, kind of going on an extended hiatus and following some of their dreams outside of the band, which you have to do. It's healthy.
Sure.
And she's just trying to get her music started up in a solo sense. And so we made a record, and we're showcasing, and we'll see what happens if we get some shows next year.
What's up with 18 South? Are you putting out albums?
We do have some music available for download on iTunes, and it's an EP. We did a whole album when we first started, and it's in the can, but we only were able to get out this EP. In the meantime, all these guys are so busy that they're all doing different things, and John and Jesse, they have 3 kids, and they got a set of twins, and so that keeps their hands full all the time. Of course, I'm a dad, and I'm traveling around doing stuff. My son's 12. He just turned 12, yeah.
Is he playing?
He plays a little bit. He's noodling around on the bass and some and that sort of thing. I took him to Rocky Grass this year, and he's always been around the music, but he's really more into sports. But he'll make the transition. I really got into it when I was about 13. That's when I talked to a lot of people, and that's a good transitional time in your life, and when you have the sort of your early aspirations and things you might think you want to do, and then next thing you know, you do something else. So,
what would you recommend to musicians today that are trying to climb the ladder?
Well, more than anything, today is just staying in there. You have to stay after it, and it takes a thick skin to be in the music business. There's a lot of rejection, and there's a lot of misperceived things about why sometimes that happens, and you have to make choices, you have to learn from all that stuff and just sort of keep plugging away at it. In this day and age, it's an outsourced type of environment and business these days. So, I know a lot of record labels, they struggle because now artists can do the very same thing. They can put their own records out, they can hire their own publicists, they can digitally distribute their records and make their own music, cut the middleman out, So it's important for musicians to realize that they're entrepreneurs. They are a private business. You know, that you have to think of that in terms sometimes, along with the art, and you know, the ones that are really successful are the ones that are able to bridge those two things together. And it's a hard thing to do, because some people don't have any business sense whatsoever. They just want to play, and they play really well. But the people that can really bridge those two things together tend to be successful in the music business. You know.
So it's a lot more than just scales.
Scales, yeah, is important, but then there's scale.
That's great. Well, thanks for sitting down and speaking with us.
Hey, it's great to be with you.
All right.